there, everybody. Cathy McLeish back here with Alcoholism Unpacked. And today I'm going to make a stab at talking about the spiritual aspect of recovery. Now, let's step back a second. I did not say the religious aspect of recovery, but the spiritual aspect of recovery. I've been sober for over 30 years, got sober in my late 20s. And a big part of sobriety for me, getting sober, the first steps of doing what I could not do. I was drinking every day, all day long, so destructive, such a crazy life of, physical abuse, emotional abuse, a horrible atmosphere for 4 children and, 2 alcoholics drinking at each other all day long. And so how do you get out of that? How do you get out of that? Well, let me tell you, in one sentence, it was something bigger than me. So if you want to name that, you can. If you don't want to name that, if you don't want any part of that, or if even like the God thing is not something that you can fathom or stomach at this point in your life, all you need to know is that if you drank like I drank, or if you drank anywhere near like I drank, or if you just drink in a way that you don't want to drink, it might take something more than you to get from point A, where I was living at that moment, to point B, where I wanted to be. And so that power, that something bigger than me, was as simple as a person in my life that had already gotten sober. And that person was actually not the smartest thing that he should have been doing, coming around and trying to say, hey, I think I found something that you need. I think I could help you. I think that what's going on in my life is your answer too. That was what that person was doing. And the reason that I say that wasn't a very smart thing for him to be doing was I had no respect for the sobriety that he was marking up. He was a week sober, a month sober, 6 months sober, and he was coming back around our home, 2 practicing raging alcoholics with a lot of domestic problems, not much ability to listen, and a lot of attitude. And he was trying to share what he had learned so that we could have a better life. Well, I didn't care. I didn't care if he stayed sober. I didn't care if he got drunk. Every time he came to my home, I offered him a drink, and I drank the whole time that I was around him. So in that way, I would say, do not try and get somebody else sober if you're early on. They do not respect what you're doing. They don't care if you fail or succeed, because at that moment, it's not that I was an ugly person, in a lot of ways I was, but it was, I just couldn't care about anything but my own reality, the way that I was seeing things right around me, how it affected me. And he was not a big part of that. So eventually, actually, I did listen and I did go. The crazy part of that is I only did it to get the partner that I had at the time sober. In my thinking, I was thinking if he would get sober, I wouldn't drink like I do. And so I'm going to listen to this person and I'm going to hike his ass over there and see if he can get some help. That's how I got into the atmosphere of recovery, where I first started to hear the truth. And the truth was, I was never going to be able to do it on my own. I was never going to be able to change where I was, the ditch I dug myself into. I was never going to be able to get out of it with the same thinking that I was using day after day. And just between you and me, I had tried over and over again. I would get up and say, I'm not going to drink today. I'm not going to do this again. Something's got to change for myself, for these kids. Something has got to be different. And every day I would fail. No matter how I tried, no matter what I did differently, whether it was the drink I drank, the time I started, the person I was doing it with, what I was mixing it with, all of these different things I would try, and every time I would fail. So I knew of my own power, I was failing. And when it comes to the spiritual aspect of the program, here's what spirituality is when you're defining it with an alcoholic, is they're not in charge. They don't have all the answers. They don't have all the power. And if that isn't a big to the alcoholic, I don't know what is. It's kind of like, get out of my way. I will fix this. And then we go on to make something worse. It's like, you don't know. Watch me. And then I go and destroy something else or somebody else. And all the time I'm thinking, I will fix this. I will get to the bottom of this. I will make the changes. You will see. And things just get worse. I can remember in early sobriety actually standing in my bathroom, of all places, looking into the mirror, knowing that I was going to have to surrender my life and the way that I was thinking and the way that I was doing things. And you know the thought that I had while my marriage was hanging by a thread, while physically I was going under, emotionally I was a basket case, while I never even wanted to get out of the bed in the morning to live that next hour. You know what I was thinking? I was thinking, well, if I give up the power, who's gonna fix all this? When in reality, it would be like anybody else would be better. Anybody else would be doing a better job. You know, it was like I had a crazy woman living my life, making all of the choices of my life, and then wondering why everything was going wrong. So the best thing that I could have done is give up some power. And that is a spiritual gift to the alcoholic, to just step out of the way. Just stop taking action until somebody else says, why don't you try this? Did you ever think of that? Maybe this could be a solution. It's not like somebody else came in and took charge of my life. It wasn't like that at all. I was still the one in power. I was just looking for new solutions. I was just open to a suggestion here or there. And oftentimes, and don't beat yourself up if you're like me, oftentimes I would ask for a suggestion and then I wouldn't take it. It would be like a Band-Aid that somebody smacked onto my problem, and I would feel a little better for the time. And then I continued to use the same solutions, the same behaviors that weren't working, and then I'd dig myself into a little more pain, and then I would go back and ask again. And about third, fourth, fifth time around, I would try the new solution, and then I would come out on the other side with a little bit of a better life, with this one small area looking better, getting more healthy. And then I would think, maybe there's something to this. Maybe I should be more willing to ask for help. Maybe I should run this by her before I make this next move. And I started to implement some of those ideas into my life little by little that were coming from people that were succeeding where I was failing. So the spiritual aspect of recovery, the spiritual aspect of my entire life today is saying, I don't have all the answers. I'm not sure what's right for you. I don't know what you should do next. Let me ask. Let me think. Let me pray about this. Let me talk to somebody who is really doing this well, and I will ask them what they did. Those are the areas that I really grow and bloom and blossom in. And the areas that I still struggle in, the areas that I still find that I fail, succeed, fail a little more, year after year, decade after decade, those are the areas that I'm still holding tight onto, thinking, I will fix this. You will see. I can do this. And in reality, it's that same spiritual lesson. I don't have all the answers. I don't need to have all the answers. I don't need to be the answer for everyone else and their problem, because in reality, I can't see the big picture. I've never been able to see the big picture. And how many things I've come out on the other side of, and I've thought, I never dreamt it would end up like this. I never thought if I would let go. I never thought if I'd let her decide. I never thought if I wouldn't try to control him that things would work out better. And yet, time and time and time again, they do. So my first spiritual lesson in recovery was, I don't know. Could you help me? I'm not sure. I don't have the answer. I don't think I am the answer. So I think I'll step out of the driver's seat and give that to someone else. Someone that maybe has direction and a plan that could succeed more than the things that I've been doing that continually fail. So it's a very, very simple idea. And all it was for me in the beginning was not pushing, not pulling, not manipulating always to have my way, but to sit back and allow somebody else's idea, intention, or plan to maybe become a part or a thing that I would consider to invite into my reality and try it out. And every time I did, the results were always better than anything I would have come up with on my own. So, Cathy McLeish, thanks for listening. And it's just another little lesson in Alcoholism Unpacked that I, as the alcoholic, do not have all of the answers. And the more I'm open to learning, the more I'm open to letting people and ideas out of the box and getting new ideas and solutions from others in, the more my life can become what it was meant to be and what it's supposed to be, so that it can touch the lives of other people and make them better for knowing me as a recovering alcoholic. So thanks for listening. Please subscribe and come back. Cathy McLeish, Alcoholism Unpacked.